Hi, and welcome to another episode of Help Nobody Told Me. I'm Shannon Johnson, realtor with Berkshire Hathaway, Chicago, and your host today. And my co-host is Mindy Leonard with SOS Home Organizing. And we're so glad to introduce you to our guest today.
Yes, Amy Salzstein is here, so we are so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, this is great. So you are the owner of Hair Response and a leading expert in customized hair loss solutions. Hair Response was founded in 1985 by your mom, Barbara, after her own experience with alopecia areata, which is an autoimmune condition that causes hair loss. So then you joined the business in 1990. You worked closely alongside with your mom. You learned firsthand the importance of empathy, careful listening, and individualized care. And then your mom retired in 2007, but you continued to work. And you had the same dedication, and you guided Hair Response forward ever since, right?
Yes.
And so you have custom wigs, toppers, fashion hair alternatives, all different hair types. Everything is customizable,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So very personalized to the client. And tell us a little bit about you and how this journey for you has been.
Sure. So, growing up with a mom with no hair, that's the only way I knew her. So, she lost her hair when she was 10 from alopecia areata. She has alopecia totalis, which was just her head was bald, but she had hair everywhere else. But there are different kinds. You could lose hair all over your body, eyebrows, eyelashes, all of that. Her eyebrows came out and then they grew back. And just navigating through the process of having no hair as a child, way back in the day, 50s, 60s, where there wasn't really a lot of places to go. Her mother, my Nana, was just terrified. She didn't know what to do. And so navigating through that whole process to try and find a place that could fit her for a wig, where the wig wouldn't look artificial, very, very difficult. So as we fast forward her life and, into the 80s, where one night she just decided, in the morning, she woke up and said, I'm starting a business called Hair Response. And she's like, people deserve to have compassion, privacy, and be treated as a whole person and not just an assembly line walking into a store and putting it on their head and walking out. And that was her whole, that's really how it evolved, how it started.
And even back in the day, you're talking about all these other back in the day things, but just to be a woman back then and deciding I'm just going to start a business and not having any experience doing it. And
She had none.
She had no experience.
She worked at a jewelry store. My mom went to the Art Institute of Chicago for college, so she was a painter and an artist. She had a very good eye. My mom was put together from head to toe. She never walked out of the house without her hair on, her makeup, dressed, etc. Mm-hmm. And my dad met her, they met in high school. They went to South Shore High School. He met her when she had the most horrific wig on her head. Mm-hmm. He didn't care because he just saw through that as to loving the person that she was. And it didn't matter to him. And so he was an accountant. And when she decided to start the business, I think, with, just a couple $1,000s, found a little space that was maybe smaller than this and just started teaching herself and reaching out to manufacturers and going, she was not a licensed cosmetologist. So she got kind of turned away by a lot of people. But you really didn't have to be a licensed cosmetologist to fit wigs. And even back then, you didn't even have to cut them. But as she started, she kind of was winging it. And, I watched all this happen for a while. I didn't get involved right away. And then one day she came to me and said, do you want to get involved in the business? Do you want to work with me? And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure. Because if we butt heads and, I don't want that to ruin our relationship. And, we did butt heads and there was some rocky times, but who doesn't have that? So I decided to jump in, and I was really just more like the office person, handling everything, but yet I'm watching everything, doing everything. And mind you, my mom also went through breast cancer, and then she had a stroke in her optic nerves and lost her eyesight, became legally blind. But she just kept going, and so I was jumping in even more and learning more of the business. And it's all about relationships. Like, the people that we work with, it's not just a person on the other end of the phone. These are people I've been working with now, manufacturers and people for almost 40 years. And so, learning how to navigate the whole business in general, because it's so broad, I just kind of did it. And then as time went on, time went on, my mom decided that it was time for her to retire. She'd done it for like 25 years or so, and asked me if I wanted to keep going. And I'm like, well, this is my career. I went to community college. I only went to school for 2 years. I didn't really get a degree, and I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life. But this just became my life, really.
And so many people don't know what they want to do, right?
Totally.
So many people
When
don't
you're 18,
know.
who really knows?
Who really knows?
But having watched your mom deal with hair loss, there was a passion there.
There was a passion and the compassion.
Yes.
The passion, I was compassionate about it. And just like my friends would question it when I was little. Oh, your mom, is she wearing a wig? Oh my God. My mom would have to explain it to people. I was afraid to have people sleep over because I was like, I don't know what they're going to think. But, she always made it easy and explained it to them. I'm not sick and I just have no hair, but I'm still the same person. Mm-hmm. So I learned a ton from her. I think we always wanted and still want an environment that people can feel like they're seen and heard and supported. Because when you just walk into like a retail wig shop and it's just a store and they're really just there to sell you, but they don't really care about the person and what's going on, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
And my mom was just a creature of things being like very specific, measured correctly, and looking natural and looking like yourself and not trying to look like you're someone else. So we always say, like, we're not trying to change our clients. We're just supporting them and helping them to continue to look themselves so that they can feel themselves, and keep doing what they normally do.
Along those lines, how do you support that individual that walks in for the first time and they're just experiencing this? Their hair's starting to fall out and they're
panicking.
They're scared to death.
They're emotional, they're crying, they're panicking, they're terrified. I think when you have a chemotherapy patient who's been given a diagnosis, that's a whole different feeling altogether because they're very scared about their health, which is the most important part of the whole thing. But they're even more upset about their hair loss. It's unbelievable how many women say, I am concerned about the cancer part, but the hair part, they're devastated about.
Well, it's a sense of dignity. It's like,
yes, it's
not only am I getting sick, but I have to lose my hair too.
Yes. And that's also traumatic.
Right.
Come on.
Everything's traumatic at that point.
Yes.
You don't know how you're going to feel on chemotherapy drugs. You're meeting a doctor. You don't know if that's really the one that you want. And then you're going to lose your hair. And now what do I do? So the first impulsive thing a lot of people do is they go online or they're in panic mode. So now they're going to a wig store and they're getting something that might not even be the right thing for them. But when they come in, it's important that I sit down with them and I really, just like what we're doing, I just talk with them and kind of just get an idea of who they are and listen, because sometimes that's what they need. It's just someone to hear their story. And we just talk. And then as we get to know each other a little bit, they become more comfortable with me. And then we start talking about, here are your options, synthetic or human hair, measure. We do all of that, but I don't even do that right away. It's more just trying to make them feel comfortable. And it's all in a private room with a closed door. It's very just a comfortable setting.
As you were talking, I was thinking about the logistics, right? When somebody either has alopecia or maybe they're losing their hair from chemotherapy or something, and they realize that this is a step that they want to take. Can they just walk into your store? Do they make appointments? What is the logistics and what is the process? And then how long does it actually take?
To get it? Mm-hmm. So we are by appointment.
Okay.
For a reason, because I feel that everyone deserves to have one-on-one time with me. And not just, when they walk into a store setting where there is no appointment required necessarily, you're in the middle of a hair salon where everyone can see you. And it's like whoever's available can come and take care of you. And our setup is not like that. So by appointment, I usually book an hour to an hour and a half with each client. And they come in, we sit, we have a consult, and we go over everything from start to finish. Synthetic hair, human hair, toppers, wigs, clip-ins, depending on what their situation is. And then once we go through that process of measuring and kind of guiding them towards what option they think they want to do, then we talk about color and we talk about length And then one thing leads to another. If they want to place an order, we order it. It takes about 3 to 5 days to come in. I also do full custom where it's made from scratch, and that takes like 3 or 4 months. That's more for people with like permanent hair loss who have been wearing hair for a while and they kind of know what they want, but not what a ready-made product can give them. That's where custom comes in. And then they come back and they meet with a styling specialist. I have 3 different stylists who are all licensed cosmetologists, but they've been trained specifically to do this work above and beyond their 35 plus years of doing hair. And then they meet with them and talk about how do you want to wear your hair, which is typically the way they always have worn it. Do you like the color? Let's talk about length. And then they go into, cutting, styling, communicating with the client. We teach them how to care for it. So when they leave, they're completely confident from start to finish on how to put it on, how to take care of it. But at the same time, they're also just being supported through this whole process, because I encourage clients to come in before their hair is going to come out if it's chemo. So chemo usually, hair loss starts 3 weeks from your first treatment depending on your drug. So if they come in ahead of time, we can get them all set up and ready, including the cutting and styling, before that happens, so that when it does happen, they're not panicking without something. They have their wig, they're ready to go. They might call me and say, I think I want you to shave my hair off because it's coming out in globs and I don't want to watch that happen.
So you do that as well?
We do that as well. And
Okay.
it's all in a private room. We usually turn them around if they don't want to watch. Sometimes we have candles. Sometimes they bring wine. They bring friends. Whatever they need to feel comfortable, we will do. And then we recheck the fit of the wig, because that can change once their hair comes out.
Sure.
Someone who's thinning hair, which there's so many women now, hormones, lack of hormones, medication, all of that stuff, genetics, that have thinning hair and they just don't know what to do. And that's a whole different situation. That might be a topper or it might be a full wig. But, they're not going through chemotherapy. It's a whole different, it's just totally separate.
But still difficult.
Still difficult.
I'm thinking
Totally.
about the TV show Schitt's Creek and Moira, who had a million
Oh,
wigs.
a million wigs,
Yes,
she
and
took with her when they took everything away from
yes,
us.
and they were all named.
Oh, yeah, we have names.
So I was going to ask you, do you name your wigs?
We
or
kind of do. I know the clients. So, you get to know each other so much. And I have clients that have been coming to me for 25 to 35 years, that long.
Right.
So I know that one's this person and that one's this person. And, you just know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's
You
great.
have to try and find a little bit of humor in it and some fun in it, because even though no one really wants to be sitting in the chair across from me,
Right.
but once they realize who we are and how we do things, all of a sudden they just breathe and okay, I'm going to be taken care of, and I know that this person's going to do whatever they can to make sure that I look the way I want to look and feel the way I want to feel.
And
So-
what a gift to give somebody to be able to do that. And you do it with such compassion and human touch, right? As
Yeah.
opposed to what you were saying with just walking into a wig store and trying on a hat.
Right.
Which-
It's not like you take it out of a box and put it on and leave.
Right.
Usually wigs will look like wigs when that happens.
Right.
People don't realize that they can be cut and shaped and thinned and made to look like them. You don't have to walk around with something that's got all this hair on it and makes you look like a clown. It make you look like yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a couple of friends who've dealt with alopecia over the years, and they have both separately, they don't know each other, have given up on wigs and all of the stuff. They'll either just go out with nothing and or they wear hats and they wear
I hear that a
scarves
lot.
and things like that. And I think a lot of it's hot in the summertime, it's itchy, is there anything that has come with more recently
Oh, gosh, yeah.
with wigs that's better about that?
Yeah.
Because if you've ever worn a wig, it's not the most comfortable experience.
Well, it's if you're wearing the wrong kind of wig.
So because I don't wear one all the time, but if
No, but in general, there's different types of construction on the insides of wigs, and the wig mentality that I think a lot of people know is those wigs off a shelf or online or from online from wherever. And a machine-made wig on the inside is very scratchy and kind of itchy and not comfortable, especially against a bald head. And a lot of people through the years, if they've been navigating that and have never been introduced to an all handmade piece, they have no idea what they're missing. An all hand tied wig is very lightweight, very breathable, very soft on the inside, and it's like you don't even have it on. Versus a machine-made wig is a completely different feel. And when people don't know what their options are, and that's because most people out there are in just the retail wig business.
Right.
And they're just selling wigs. And they don't necessarily even have other options for people. But that's where my mom took it so much further by saying, you know, we need to know the newest of new and technology, and so much has changed even since 40 years ago when she started the company. Even just a year ago, what our manufacturers have come out with, that's because, you know, they listen to us and we say, you know, you need to do this, this, and this, and it's life changing, really.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And it must be very interesting to you. You've developed these relationships you mentioned for people that you've been working with for 35 years or whatever the amount of time, and they keep coming back. And are there any stories that really stick out for you of some of these people that have been with you for a long time?
I mean, a lot of my alopecia clients, which are more permanent hair loss.
Right.
I mean, I have a couple clients that started when they were 5 years old. And one of them just lost all her hair from head to toe. And she was very active in sports when she was a kid, karate. And she's now in her 40s and she's still a client. And, you know, when you watch them evolve and grow up and get married, or, you know, they meet somebody and they get a really great job and they're so confident, it just, you know, that's why I do what I do.
Right.
I mean, you know, and then I have clients where, you know, we do a free wig program at the Cancer Wellness Center in Northbrook. And sometimes I see like 7 or 8 cancer patients in a day. And just when they come in and they look really nervous, but then when they walk out, all of a sudden they're, you know, the hugging, I mean, because I'm a hugger, you know, hugging and the tears and just saying, oh my God, thank you so much for what you do. And I mean, I don't need a pat on the back because that's not who I am. I do things because that's what I want to do. And that's what my mom taught me.
Well, it sounds like you learned those lessons from your mom and from your dad. Because just what you said about him when he met your mom.
Yeah.
And he wasn't focusing on that she didn't have hair. He went within.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you kind of grew up in this lovely family. And you have taken it now, and now you've expanded it and sharing it with your customers.
Yeah. I mean, and my dad was the accountant, and he did all the accounting to start with. And I lost both my parents 3 years ago, within 3 months of each other.
Oh my gosh.
And so, you know, I have my mom's voice in my head like every day. You know, when I'm in the office, I mean, like she's surrounded. My mom was an artist. Her artwork is up, and you know, and when people come in, and some people who haven't even seen me in a while because they don't necessarily need a new wig every year, and didn't even know that my mom passed away. I mean, my mom was the first person they met where my mom would take off her wig and be like, "I'm just like you," you know, and she would ask first just to make sure they were comfortable with it, but. The impact that she had on so many people before I even got that heavily involved. But it was always Barbara and Amy and Barbara, you know, and we go to manufacturers conventions, and my mom would teach classes on how to do molds and stuff, and I would just be her right-hand person. So we just created these relationships with people, but she definitely made a very big impact and a difference in like so many people's lives. We had a boy who got scalped by a bear because he was on a Boy Scout thing, and they were in a tent and they had food in their tent, and a bear came in and grabbed him from his head and dragged him out. And he had to have skin grafts, and when you get a skin graft, no hair grows. And we have this product that's a 100% silicone vacuum piece that we do a cast mold to someone's head. You can swim underwater in it. It doesn't come off until you release the suction. And my mom was one of the first people to represent that manufacturer started making them. And so we made a piece for him, and not only did it give him hair, but it protected his head. So it was, there's some very fascinating things that happened through the years.
I had no idea that even existed.
That's like a Goosebumps kind of story too. I mean, really.
And that was like towards the beginning when my mom first started, when we met him.
And I'm sure a situation like that never even crossed her mind, is that she would be helping somebody like that.
Never.
Right?
Never.
Do you think that her artistic talent helped her with the business? And I would think...
Totally.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm thinking too.
My mom had such a good eye for things.
Right.
And even when she became legally blind, she would use her magnifiers and she would paint very close to the canvas. Oh. And it completely, I think, was part of her inspiration, because hair and a person's face and their bone structure, it's all artistic in some way, you know, and just, she always had her hands in something. So, you know, fitting people, and when we fit people, a lot of people are like, aren't you going to measure me? I'm like, well, I do it by feel. I measure, but then I know how something fits just by feeling the way it's supposed to fit. And she was just she was just a hands-on person.
Well, it's shape too, I'm soon.
Yes, shape of their head. I mean, some women have flat heads, some women have more defined heads. We do alterations to caps in-house, where if they're just borderline between a petite and a regular size, then I might have to take it in. And I mean, I've learned a lot of sewing skills through the years.
And are you the person who actually...
I do all the sewing and all the consulting and all the, I mean, yeah. I mean, my stylists all kind of do some of that too, and my right arm, one of my close friends, Sandra, who came to work for me when I was about to give birth to my twin girls, and she said, I'll just help you out so you can take some time off, and she never left. She's been with me ever since. And she sews too. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
We've talked a lot about wigs and the people. Let's talk a little bit about hair loss.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of things that people don't understand. Mm-hmm. What do you wish more people understood about hair loss? Now, granted, there are lots of different types of hair loss, but people in general, I don't think they understand the emotional toll, especially men. Women may get it a little more.
Yeah, men are a little different, because unfortunately in our society, I feel like it's more acceptable that men don't have hair.
Absolutely.
Versus, I mean, my husband has like hardly any hair in his head, and he's just
Mine too.
like, okay. But women,
as long as they have a nice shaped head, it's okay.
Yes. And he started losing it when he was in college. It was genetic, for sure. I think that people just need to become more educated about, I think the minute you start experiencing hair loss and you hear that word hair loss, you're like, what am I going to do? I don't have any options. I'm just going to walk around like this. And most people just don't know what's out there. And I think that like dermatologists and doctors have become more educated, which is why my mom and I used to go and talk to doctors. We would go around to all the different hospitals and dermatology offices and do presentations to explain to them, like, listen, you know, you have clients that are losing their hair and they don't have to walk around bald or with nothing, but this is what we do, and we educate them on, you know, what the options are so that they can then pass that along to their clients to try and make them at least feel more comfortable, like, you know, this isn't the end. Like, you have options, you have choices, you know?
So some of those choices are, you talked about synthetic, human hair, and there's even blended pieces. So how do you make that decision, and what are some of the things that go into that thought process?
A lot of it has to do with a person's lifestyle. You know, one of the first things I say to them is, what is your routine? When you do your hair every day or every other day, what do you do? And if a woman says, I just let it air dry, that tells me, well, you don't know how to use a blow dryer or flat iron, so, you know, human hair might not work as well for you if you don't know how to manage it. Now, yes, I have women that bring their wigs in every 2 weeks, like we're their beauty shop. They bring their wigs in, they have their hair done, and out they go. And they may not have the ability to use their hands, or they're older and they don't have the time. Synthetic hair, very low maintenance, a much easier product. It has a memory and it holds its style. So you don't use blow dryers, heating tools, or anything on it.
Can you use heat on it?
No.
Okay.
So there's a heat defiant fiber that's synthetic that you can use low temperature tools on, but you gotta tread that very lightly, just because you could burn it or melt it. We do a lot of servicing where people just bring their pieces in regularly. I mean, synthetic hair does not oxidize in the sun. It does not react to humidity. So a lot of people who go to Florida in the winter like to have a synthetic. And I think it's when I start to get to know that person during the consult, I'm getting a feel of who they are and what they can handle. And then they'll start opening up to me. Amy, I just air dry it. I don't do anything to my hair at all. Well then, okay, you can get human hair, but you might have to bring it in, but a synthetic might be better for you. And human hair is more expensive than synthetic. So it depends on,
budget.
you know, what your budget is. And we have something in every budget. And if you've never worn hair before, you don't need to jump into spending all this money. Start with something that's less expensive and even see if you like wearing hair in the first place before you invest in something more expensive.
Do people bring a picture in?
They bring pictures. We usually encourage them to bring a picture. I mean, most of the time people come in, they have their hair. Whether it's thin and you can still kind of see how their hair is, or a chemotherapy patient, but there are some chemotherapy patients that waited and now all their hair's gone. So then they'll bring a picture, which is very helpful with color and style and so on. So, and some people just want to completely change their style and just say, well, Amy, what do you think? And then we just kind of go dive into that,
So what about managing hair loss? Do you help people with that at all? Like, what are some mistakes people make?
Meaning, so managing it. I mean, when it comes to their wigs.
Well, or even just the whole process. I'm starting to lose my hair. What do I do first?
Okay. I think, finding the right place to go. I mean, but I would say in something that I mean, sometimes I'll talk to clients, I'll say, you're not really ready yet. I think you need to go to the doctor. You need to get your thyroid checked. You need to get your hormonal levels checked. And I might say, let's just make sure that all those things are good and that, your health is in check and get those like lined up so that you can find out, is it your thyroid? Because that can cause hair loss, hormonal like imbalances, things like that. And I think once they get through that, and then they might call back and say, okay, well now I know what's going on. Or they go to a dermatologist and they get like a scalp biopsy to see, is it alopecia? All those things. So it's just, I think taking the time to know what your options are, talk to the doctor and diagnose it. And sometimes there's just not a diagnosis, and it could just be genetic hair loss and we don't really know the reason, Do
you have any advice for somebody who's kind of experiencing this and is just really nervous about making that first call? What would you say?
I would say that your feelings are valid for being nervous, number one. But know that we are there to listen and answer your questions and try to just make you feel as much at ease as possible. And sometimes if you just want to call me and talk on the phone and not even come in at all, get to know each other and just ask me questions. Sometimes you can even just send me an email. We can communicate that way. And I think there's so much out there on social media that I think sometimes people get more nervous because they think they're walking into this wide open space where everybody can see them. And, our place is 100% private, behind a closed door. No one's going to be staring or watching. And, we understand the emotions that are involved. So we're just there to support them and guide them.
I love that.
So nice. Where are you located?
We are located, we're at 3295 North Arlington Heights Road in Arlington Heights, like on the border of Buffalo Grove and Arlington Heights. And we're in an office complex. So it's not a big storefront with a big sign that says Hair Response. It's just in a regular office park. And we're like 2 blocks south of Dundee Road.
And so for those of you who are not in Illinois, which is where we are, this is the northern suburbs of Illinois, northwest a little bit.
Yes.
Right.
And we have a lot of out-of-state clients too.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. We have people from Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, who way back when they found out that my mom was selling certain types of products that were geared for people with alopecia or whatever, she was one of the only people that did it. So they would drive in and travel. So we do have those clients that have been coming for years that I see like once a year, once every 2 years that travel in.
And that speaks to the type of service that you provide. When you are that compassionate about something and you give people the privacy and really the love that they need in that moment, they're going to come back to you.
Yeah, and how can you not
Why would they go somewhere else?
Like maybe that's just how I am. But, I had a 5-year-old in my office the other day with alopecia. And her grandma brought her. And her aunt. And she had no hair. And she's going into kindergarten. So I'm like, well, we need to fix that. She was just precious. So, it's just, whatever we can do to make sure that a person is going to feel confident and feel like themselves and this is the one stress that I want to take away from them, because it shouldn't be a stressful experience. It's scary and terrifying, especially for a 5-year-old, but for anyone, you know. But to be able to walk out the door and be able to like go to work the next day and feel somewhat confident that they can just walk right in and people are just going to say, "Oh my God, you look great."
Do you see a change in their physical, the way they carry themselves?
Very much
before
so.
and after?
Before and after, for sure. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are like, well, they're going to notice that I have all this hair the next day versus yesterday I didn't. I said, they don't notice as much as you think. Right. They just look at you and say, look how great you look. Or did you color your hair different?
Right.
It's
Ooh,
not.
did you get a haircut?
Yeah, they're not thinking, oh, you have a wig on.
Right.
But if you think about it,
But it's scary.
any woman, I think when you walk out of the salon and you just got a great cut,
Don't you feel
probably
so
for you
good?
a great blowout because you have this amazing hair.
You feel so good.
When you walk out, you're like, I am unstoppable.
Yeah, and when my gray gets covered up, I feel fantastic.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So-
So yes.
so
And I
you're-
mean, you know, it's across the board. I think it's to see a smile on their face. And some people, you know, maybe they feel good, but they're just, you know, being cautiously optimistic, you know, like, thank you so much. And this has been such a great experience. And they don't feel well. Some people don't feel well. But overall, when they walk out, they know exactly what's going on. They know how to take care of it. And they can look in the mirror and say to themselves, oh, yeah, that's me.
They look like themselves again.
Yeah.
Look and feel.
Look and
Yes,
feel,
yes,
right?
yes. That's
See
important.
yourself, and then you can feel that in you.
Yeah.
Very much. All right. You ready for a lightning round? Quick.
Okay.
First thought that pops into your mind. Can I go first?
Sure. Okay. Synthetic or human hair, which is easier for beginners?
Synthetic.
Your favorite part of a client appointment?
When they're all finished and walking out with a smile.
I knew you were going to say that.
One thing people always get wrong about wigs.
That they're all uncomfortable.
Coffee, tea, or something stronger?
Tea.
Okay.
Go to self-care practice.
Walking.
Oh, love that. If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing for work?
Makeup.
Oh.
That's like my hobby. I love it.
You do.
Yeah, I do.
Well, you're into design.
I mean,
you
that
said
makes
earlier.
sense.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Because it's still helping people and making
Right.
them feel pretty and, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, Amy, your expertise, your heart, your everything. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing it with us, for sharing it with everybody who's watching and listening.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. No, we really appreciate you having you taking the time to come on.
So sorry, you guys.
No, I'm sorry. Okay.
But I am glad you joined us today. And we hope you join in again. Like and follow on Help Nobody Told Me.